Hi, it's Lucky Robin, and I want to talk to you today about some common misconceptions about rabbits. One of the most common misconceptions is that rabbits are rodents. Rabbits are not rodents. Rabbits are lagomorphs. Lagomorphs are a species that they digest their food one time, and then they have a soft poop called caecals, which they eat at night, and it goes through their system a second time. And that is how they are able to get proper nutrition from their food. The mothers also provide caecals for their babies when the babies are first learning how to eat solid food. It's very important if you see the caecals, which look like little grape clusters in the nesting box, that you leave those for the babies to eat. But the big, regular, round ones, those don't need to be left in the nesting box. Another common misconception is that wild rabbits and domestic rabbits are the same species, and they're not. The wild cottontail rabbit here in America, it has 21 pairs of chromosomes. The domestic rabbit, like this guy here, they only have, they have 22 chromosomes, pairs of chromosomes. So while they can breed the same way that a horse and donkey could breed, it will not result in a successful pregnancy. While a rabbit could get pregnant, the embryos will not develop. And in the case of a cottontail doe and a domestic buck, you would have the problems of having someone tiny being pregnant with someone's largest children. And so even if they did survive past the embryonic stage, it would probably kill the rabbit when she was giving birth. Hey, sweetie. Oh, you're such a sweetie. Okay, another common misconception is about something called rabbit starvation, or protein poisoning. Rabbit starvation is an acute form of protein poisoning. It is caused by only eating wild rabbit. It's your only food source in a survival situation. You'd have nothing else. No plants, no nuts, no other animal, no other source of fat, just the very, very lean wild rabbit. Well, and it would take several days, 5-6 days before it would hit you, but they would make you very, very sick, and you'd get diarrhea and all kinds of nasty things that would accompany it. But one way to stave that off, you'd still get it, but you'd last a lot longer, is if you were hunting the wild rabbits. If you ate all of the organs, the kidney, the liver, the heart, the brain, the eyes, anything that is naturally fatty. If you boiled the bones and made a broth and had all the bone marrow and all of just any fat that was on it at all, and you ate that would prevent the rabbit starvation for quite a bit longer. But in a survival situation, it's hard for me to believe that the only source of your food, period, is going to just be wild rabbits, because they get hunted out really fast. So with domestic rabbits, it's not really a problem. Okay, I say all the time that they're lean, and they are, but there is fat. There's fat in the abdominal cavity. There is fat on the shoulders. Hey, baby, where are you going? And like when I make my ground rabbit, I save the fat off of several rabbits, and I put that into my ground rabbit. And in a homestead situation, you're not raising wild rabbits, you're raising domestic rabbits. So you are going to have some fat. And again, if you eat the organs or the broth from the bones, you're going to have some fat, enough fat, that rabbit starvation is not going to be a problem. I think it's way, way overplayed. In a homestead situation, rabbit's usually not your only meat. You usually have chickens or ducks or something, and you could save the fat from those. You could cook your rabbit in chicken schmaltz, or you could cook your rabbits in duck fat, and you're gonna have things like olive oil and butter and stuff like that. Hopefully, in a survival situation on a homestead, you would have plenty of other sources of fat. When I can chicken and beef, there's plenty of fat in it, and so you would alternate your chicken and your fat, or you'd even scoop the fat off of the beef and cook your rabbit in that. You can some bacon, and then you could cook your rabbit in the stuff that's in the can that's left after you eat the bacon. You store your olive oil, you store your lard, you store your tallow, anything that is shelf stable. If you have goats, you're making butter or milk from cows. I mean, you have fat, you have other sources of fat. So when people ask me about rabbit starvation, it's so, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a myth, because it's not with the wild rabbit. It's just the exact scenario that you would need to be in for this to happen is like so rare. It's not something that I worry about, and it's not something that in a regular homestead situation anyone should worry about. Hey baby, hey. Okay, another misconception about rabbits is that they are soft and cute and cuddly. Well, okay, that's true when they're this size. But when they're teenagers, they tend to get, and that's 13 weeks old, 14 weeks old. They tend to get a little bratty. They get cage defensive, and so there'll be a lot of like that at your hand if you reach in to take out dirty hay or something like that. I found that it is much easier to have feeders on the outside of the cages, so that you can just dump the feed in, and then you put your hay in quickly, and you have your waters on the outside, so you don't have to worry about it when they go through that little bratty phase. It doesn't last very long, and it tends to hit right around butcher time. But in a rabbit that you're growing up to keep, that you want to handle daily so that it is used to it and it doesn't freak out every time you clean its cage or need to take it out and clip its nails, they'll grow out of it at about 17 to 18 weeks old. So, and while they won't want to be picked up really, they will allow you to pick them up, take them out of their cage so you can clean their cages. Mostly they'll want their foreheads pet. It's a grooming thing for them. Rabbits do it to each other. If they're in with another rabbit, they almost demand it from each other, and some rabbits will come and demand it from you. They'll walk to the front of the cage, they'll put their head down, and they'll expect to be pet. And if you stop before they're ready, they will give you such a look. But anyway, so they're not necessarily sweet and cuddly like this the whole time. And they don't like to be held once they're older. That's why they don't really make the best of pets. Now, there are a few breeds that are more pet friendly. Mini Lops, Hotots or Hotot. I don't know how that's pronounced. It's spelled Hotot though. and they just tend to be sweeter. But these big meat rabbits, if you want a pet for your child that you can cuddle and love on, rabbits are not a good idea, really. Their claws are as sharp as a cat, and their back legs are so powerful that if they kick you right, they can actually break a rib. So, especially on a small child who doesn't know to listen when you say that the rabbit's had enough or to put it back. So, no, rabbits don't make good pets unless you get the very specific small breeds that are bred for pets. Let me see, was there anything else I wanted to cover? Oh, yes. Rabbit does not taste like chicken. Rabbit can be prepared in many of the same ways that chicken is prepared, but it doesn't taste anything like poultry of any sort. And that's a myth that drives me crazy. It doesn't taste like chicken any more than ostrich or rattlesnake tastes like chicken. People like to say it, but it's really not true. Rabbit tastes like rabbit. To me, it actually tastes more like a cross between really, really good pasture-raised pork and ostrich. So, definitely not like chicken. So anyway, I hope that has cleared up some of the myths and some of the truths that you have heard about rabbits before. This is Lucky Robin and little baby saying goodbye.